Hello, we're Culture Wars, and you're watching Mix, the beat of our culture.
That was the best show of the tour of the whole year, so I think we still think about it. It's just, okay, alright, that was great, how quickly can we get back? And I think even when we were doing this, we knew that we were probably going to come here and do these shows, but we couldn't say anything, so it was just like, we're coming back soon.
That was the highlight, playing in here in Manila at the Philippine arena. Everybody came ready to party. We had a great show.
It's just the job is 10 times easier when the fans are as static and like ready for new music than anywhere else. I mean, for me, it's, we come from like Austin. It's like the live music capital. This is like the live music fan capital. Like everywhere, this is the one place in the world where we play where it's just it's a different level of fan. So it's a lot of fun.
And everyone can sing here, so that's helpful.
So we were transitioning in between the song, and I wanted like the house lights, like all the stage lights to come on, because I wanted to see the crowd. And so I was like, Kimmy was talking to our lighting guy. He wasn't a very good listener, so he wasn't listening to me. But luckily, he's no longer with us.
When he's alive. He's alive. He's no longer with Culture Wars.
He's just no longer with Culture Wars. Luckily, the fans all stepped up. Everybody in the entire arena started pulling their camera lights out. And just like, you could see every single person all the way from the top. It was the craziest moment.
It was like within seconds too. He was like, "Can we get some more lights on the crowd?" And just everyone pulled out their phones instantly. It was incredible. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that one was just, I had a bunch of notes on my phone of like ideas, and I just had the chorus, and I showed Gail like 4 ideas, and I was like, oh. And then he picked that one. I was like, oh, weird. And then we just built the rest of it. It's just kind of super random, to be honest. Later, it kind of, the lyric stuff was more just like about kind of like a bored ex-housewife kind of at a bar kind of thing, but it was very just random, and then just everyone coming up with their different parts and like just putting together like a band record. I mean, it's kind of just, all right, we know how to play our instruments, let's just, here's the chorus, and then we just did it. It's pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. It's one of those songs, once the song was already written and the rest of the band listened to it, it was one of those songs where everyone kind of knew exactly what to do. It's like, all right, it came together very easily. It doesn't always happen that way, but for that one, especially, it came together quickly.
I love that song. It's great. It was a long process. I think during it,
For you?
yeah, but during it, I think, you're trying to find the sound, you're trying to get like what exactly. That's what makes it, like when you hear something like It Hurts, you're like, that's this nostalgic feel, like all of that's intentional, and it has to be. So we got to work in some great studios and with amazing gear, great people. It's amazing. It's a great experience.
Well, I think that's a good example right there. After the EP came out, the songs that we wrote first sound a little bit more similar to the EP, and then as we progress, it sounds more like It Hurts. So Miley, for example, was one of the first songs that we wrote, and that sounds a little bit more like the EP. It has more sense and things in it like that. And It Hurts was one of the later ones, and that has that kind of sound.
Well, but Typical Ways was also one of the first ones, and that sounds
Very true.
well, actually, debatable. So everything you just said. So you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
I think we're just gravitating toward, like, again, finding that what is the intention behind anything. Gravitate towards, it's a band, so let's make it, how can we play this on stage? And I think from a coming up with parts perspective, it's all just like, okay, how can we do this with 2 guitars and drums and bass? And so defining those boundaries really helps you get creative inside of it.
And also, no matter what stage we're in the writing, it's always a learning process, and it's never, I think if you fall into the place where you're like, oh, we're just gonna do the same thing again, like you're in trouble. Because it's very boring. Like, oh, let's just do it again. And at a certain point you have to just accept that it's not going to be easy every time, and it's probably going to be challenging every time, and just to accept it and let it kind of develop. Another thing, no. I don't know. That's a tough question.
I think there's a couple. Songs that have more recently defined the band. I think for me, at least, Slowly is one of them. It Hurts is a good one that defines it. Typical Ways, which is going to be, coming out soon, also defines it. It's like, I think those 3 records, unless I'm missing something, kind of define the feel.
It's gonna be a lot of me trying not to play Maroon 5 songs at soundcheck. I think feels like we're really dialed right now. I think for a lot of the last Asia tour, we had been on tour for a while at that point, but we were able to kind of take all the lessons we learned on that tour and just really hone them in rehearsal sense. So I think it's just gonna be similar to what it was before, but just elevated, elevated, a lot more refined.
The audio quality of what we're doing from now since October is we just upgraded a lot of things, so it'll certainly sound better.
We're the same, but not
We're the same, but the quality is, but the audio is we're still bad, but the mics that we got.
You can hear that
We really hear how bad we are.
How bad it is.
It's really personal.
Yeah.
I think it's a big part is we haven't done our first show with Maroon 5 yet, but I'm sure it'll be across the same thing. I think the big thing that we all took away from the LANY was how they pieced together a show. And we kind of implemented that in our own way, but on how a show flows and how it builds.
In between moments in particular, the moments in between songs, LANY are so incredible at crafting the perfect segue from one song to another, performance sense and a musical sense. So we really tried to focus with that on our pre-production for this tour, and just making sure that everyone needs a moment to shine. Also, they were incredibly nice. It was nice to learn that people at the top of their game are actually you don't need to be a jerk in the music industry.
Yeah. And Maroon 5's gangster. And Maroon 5's gangster. Really, really big.
So nice to the point where you're when what's gonna happen? Yeah.
Hey, we're Culture Wars. Make sure to stream all of our new music on the new album, and we will see you guys again soon. Very soon.